Today I've got to remove the radiator and the shroud and the transmission cooler, disconnect the passenger side of the engine, and then hit the transmission bolts. And if I can get through this quickly enough, maybe I can get the engine pulled later this afternoon as we go. So wish me luck. Thanks for sticking around for the journey. It's fun for me. I hope you're enjoying watching it. Okay, so for me to disconnect the left hand or the passenger side of this shroud, I'm going to have to clear out some of this stuff on the passenger side. Really before I was planning to. But that seems to be the story of this car so far. Not sure if I actually loosened it or just rounded it off. I'm pretty sure I just rounded it off. And there's another broken bolt.
Well, the best part about a dry rotted everything is that removing the hoses is no problem. In this case, though, holy smokes! So the corrosion that we saw coming out of the thermostat housing is actually coming out of the water inlet to the block as well. I've never seen anything like this. I've never even heard of anything like this, but maybe it's normal for these cars. It goes all the way back, and it is actually a solid plug of corrosion back in here. I can only assume that the engine, or that the engine block itself, is pretty much hopelessly shot. So I guess that makes it easier not to worry about what's going to happen to it after I pull it. There's the shroud. So the shroud looks like it's been taken off before, as well as the radiator. They're both missing some screws and bolts on their mounting hardware, but say lovey. So given the amount of corrosion that's in the engine, I have a feeling, and I can see down in this radiator, that there's a shot too. One more thing. Was Why did I cut it? Because this is so badly corroded, it doesn't matter. It looks like it's not really salvageable to me. Okay, so we're pretty much down to it. The power cable and the ground cable are already disconnected. There's no battery, and c'est la vie. I've disconnected the alternator here from the harness. I just have two more connections, the power connection and this ground connection, to disconnect the alternator. Then I'll have this engine mount and that engine mount, and then the engine will be fully disconnected. I had considered disconnecting the engine from the transmission, but as I look at this starter, there's a really good chance this is really badly seized, and the undercarriage bolt is probably even worse. So at this point, I'm really going to have to think through how I want to try to disconnect either the engine from the transmission or the transmission from the drive shaft without hopelessly destroying nearly everything else that I've had to take off of this engine. So, wish me luck. Okay, I'm removing the stick shift right now. What was supposed to be on there was, on this side was supposed to be a C-clip holding the pin. There was no C-clip, so I just pried it out. I had to scribe a lot of it out of there. It's always 50 cents holding up $1, isn't it? I guess I'll try to push it back in. Never experienced anything quite like this. So just in case you're wondering, that's where we are. Might be time for the big kahuna. So that's how you get that out, or that's how you don't get it out. A lot of gum and gunk and crud and crap jammed in there, and the T part of the pin was probably dragging it all through at the same time. So anyway, that's done. Now just a couple more moves and we're ready to pull this engine. Okay, so we're pretty much at the point of removing the engine. I have the passenger side engine mounts that still need to come out. However, I'm going to leave those in while I push the car basically out of the garage, and then give myself some maneuvering room with the cherry picker, after which I'm going to have to load it onto an engine stand and maneuver some things around. So to do all of that, I'm going to go ahead and reorganize the garage, pick some things up, and then get to it. So be back in a second as we get ready to pull this engine. That's one. Disconnect the speedometer cable. That wasn't hard. The good news is that the transmission fluid is really, really clean.
Hopefully, be ready to go.
Pressure's definitely off of it. Time for the big kahuna. Again. Maybe a little less weight. Yep, that was it. A little less weight. Okay, there's one pin. You would hope that that would start to drop, but yeah. This is the best part about not having a lift. Okay. The fact that that's not coming out, it's kind of like, what? But, okay, so there we have it. There is the transmission mount. Let's set this over here. Next up, I'm going to get the load leveler bolted to the engine and get the cherry picker to then take the weight of the engine. And once that's done, I can release the jack and start pulling the engine out. Hopefully, and this is my intention, is that as I move the engine up and forward, drive shaft will start to then release from the transmission, which is why I have the drain pan right here. Okay, folks, let's get it on. Okay, down to the last mounting bolt, and unfortunately, as expected, that mounting bolt did break as well.
But I guess cars back then definitely weren't really designed to last through the elements.
Well, they said that the jacket, these cars in particular, were not made with stainless steel. They were just raw steel coming out of the factory. So,
Which is crazy if it's a Japanese car. You're on the coast in Japan, you know, like you're getting blasted with salt water in the air.
yeah, like none of the accessories on this are salvageable that I can tell.
Yeah.
So I did enough research. I know that I don't have to do a race build. I just want.
Like we were talking about before, A, because it's an inline 6, and B, just because you can always do this again. You know, you don't have to build it up crazy the very first time.
Right.
You can put those headers on later. You can drop the cam if you want.
Okay, now we get into the fun part. It's not in the car, but I got it. Oh, what am I dragging along there?
What is it?
Oh, nothing. I'm not dragging anything, but there's something.
Pull it back.
Yeah.
I mean, you can always pull the car back, maybe, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. And I told people, of course.
I know, that's always what happens.
The oil paint is gonna hit. Get it over the oil pan before it hits the tongue. Oh,
There you go.
yeah, I might have to. All right, so
You have your chalk under there still, or you get it?
no, I thought I moved it.
You got a rock right here.
It seemed like it was. All right, hang on just a second. And I don't want to get off of this, it might flip over.
Swing along. What do you mean?
See if it's hooked onto something over here. What? I disconnected the start.
I'm pretty sure.
Um,
It might go. Cut that. Wait.
well, the thing is, it's a It's just better. I bug him with so much dumb shit as it is. I didn't want to.
There you go. Yep. Oh yeah.
Now it's moving.
Uh-huh.
I lift it just a little. Okay.
Now it's definitely on something else. Hold on.
I'm going to swing this around. I think I can swing this around now. This is not the right garage to do this. We don't have the right tools. It's not the right thing to be doing.
Where the perfect
Well,
just get
not this.
That's what you got.
Yep.
A lot of people don't. All the tools that you have, an enclosed space to. Yeah. All right. Fuck it. That didn't. I'm gonna spin that one around.
Okay, so now that I've got it down, I put it onto a couple of the auto dollies just to keep it kind of mobile. And I'm now separating the transmission from the block. Once I have that, I'm gonna set that aside. So this top, the top bolt for the starter motor is being a little problematic. It's tough to get into. I even put the impact driver on it and it didn't budge. So I'm gonna try leveraging it with my long-handled ratchet or my breaker. Hopefully this will actually help do the trick. It's usually my go-to, but we'll see what happens. There we go. I think. Nothing like physics to get something working correctly. Okay, so I'm pretty sure these are the last two bolts that I have to get done, and then see how easy this is going to come apart. Something I'm really enthusiastic about with regard to this transmission is that the transmission actually had very clean transmission fluid in it. So I'm fairly confident that it will be a solid transmission to go back into the Datsun when the time comes. So one less thing. Okay, so that's about it for the engine removal and transmission separation. Well, all right, folks. So that about does it for the engine removal and transmission separation video. Along the way, I went into this looking to do things by the book and clearly didn't quite make it. The condition of the car really drove a number of decision points with frozen parts, fused bolts. I still have a drive shaft that is attached to the differential, and I think that's going to have to come out along with the rest of that rear suspension. I had nearly every single bolt that I tried to loosen actually just broke. Also, I had to cut out the exhaust and a number of other things. Also, I think we talked about this in the initial video. The reality for this engine was always that it was going to be heading to the dump. But I was a little more surprised at how few of the accessories and other parts of this engine are probably unsalvageable as well. Then there are a lot of things that were not a surprise. For example, the radiator, the transmission cooler, the hoses, anything that was plastic or rubber is gone, it's shot. And I think the biggest craziness was finding all of that corrosion residue, not just a little bit in the radiator or the hoses, but deep down into the engine block. That I've never seen or heard of that before. I don't know if any of you have. Please comment below and let me know what you think of that one. There's going to be a lot of media blasting going on, as well as some other things. This is a one-man show here, although I did have a friend of mine who is more of a BMW M3 racer. He came over to kind of help me when he saw that I was a little in over my head. As my wife would say, pretty standard. Also, for those of you who have subscribed to my channel, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I know it's a growing channel, and that initial support really means a lot. It really makes me feel good to know that some people are finding value in this. If you're new to the channel and you've enjoyed the video, please hit subscribe or like. Also, down in the comments below, please offer any insights, any recommendations on how I might be able to make these videos better or enhance the channel in some way. I would greatly appreciate it. And it is getting a little later and dark here on the East Coast, so I am going to go ahead and jump. And thank you all again for joining me on my journey.